you guys are on the other side of the world. So Rafi, how'd you build your team and all that? And that's at least, it may have been a lot more difficult, 20, 30 years ago. It's easier now, but really curious to see, how you built your team and why you picked the team that you did. So.
Yeah. First of all, today it's even easier than 5 years or even a year or 2 years ago, because today everybody knows Zoom or other ways to communicate over the internet. So it's even easier, right? I don't now. I'm jumping on Zoom calls with brokers, and I see their face and they see me without even flying to meet them, right? So it's even easier. But when I started, I started with a single family home, and when I started with single family home, I remember when I started, there was like a say that it's very good to buy through a one-stop shop, right? It's a mantra: buy through a one-stop shop. They will handle everything. I did that, and I realized it's a very bad situation. You don't want to buy in one-stop shop. You want to have a team, because then each one of the team is specialized in one thing, and you can also have like one can manage the other, or one can check the process of the other. For example, you have an inspection that can check the rehab, the construction work, right? So it's better to build a team than in one man show. The way I did it, I understand that I need to do something I call hire slow and fire fast. It's not something that I invented. I heard about it, but it's something I do a lot. And hire slow is what I do. I'm looking at let's say a management company. I want to find a management company is working in the same area that I'm working in. They have units. It doesn't matter if I was in single family homes or multifamily. I want to have a management company that specializes in the same asset class, B, C, A, that managing the area, okay, and manage. Let's say I don't want them to be too big, and I don't want them to be too small. I want them to be right at the position where they want to grow. They still have eager to grow, and they are not too small, because if they are too small, they don't have process. I want to check their process. What are the process of working for their work? So I want to see they are organized. And one more thing, and again, it's same with construction. I wanna check. I'll always ask people around how they are satisfied and what they are not satisfied from the team. There is always, each one of us are very good at something, but very bad at something else, or need to improve something else. So I want to know, when I hire, I want to know, and I ask the manager or the constructor, what are you good at and what you're not? I want to know what he's not good at, so I can be prepared and maybe bring somebody else to complete him. So that's how I build my, I think in a 1 minute, how I build my team.
So Marcel, yeah, same question for you. So how did you kind of build your team, find your team, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's very important to be in a team. You cannot do it alone. I was used and raised like you have to do it all by yourself, which is completely wrong. The point is how I do it. I mean, I differentiate between an active investor and a passive. So an active, I think you need more. It's another team. As a passive, I speak as a passive now. I think number one, you need to have in your team is a good CPA. I mean, I need a Swiss CPA. I need a US CPA who is really knowledgeable about taxes, local taxes, and also the US taxes. And then, of course, I'm using also like a corporate lawyer in the US, where the structure of an LLC and the decision you have to decide if you have to have an LLC as a C corp or as another structure, as a personal. So these are decisions you have to decide with somebody who's really knowledgeable. And of course, what's important also as a passive is that you have an accountant if you do it, if you don't want to do it yourself. So these are, I think, my most team people I need in my team to run an effective passive real estate investing company. And probably I forgot yet something, but I think these are the most important in my view when it comes to passive investing.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
of course, the sponsors like you guys.
Yeah, the team is in my opinion, one of the most important parts. It can make or break deals. We've seen the results of the past years of deals just falling apart because the team wasn't strong. So, once you've got your team set, now, what's the next step? How do you identify which market you want to be in? You're halfway across the world. So do you have a process for understanding a different market? Do you fly over here? Do you drive different deals around here every so often, or how does that process work? So Rafi, if you don't mind, just diving into kind of your due diligence process and identifying properties and markets that you're interested in.
I think you ask a few questions, not one, but I will answer because market is something else. When I was in single family, right before I shifted to multifamily, I was buying in Cleveland, and Cleveland, it has a negative population growth, very small, but negative population growth. But the prices were, because it was so low for so long time, and people were looking for more affordable houses, a lot of investment shifted to Cleveland. But from the apartment point of view, I thought it's not a good idea. I prefer being in an area that, because an apartment is more like a business, and there are cap rates and the evaluation is different than houses. I thought I need an area that there is a population growth. That was one of my main, what I'm looking on a market. I need a population growth. I need to see that there is a future job growth, that it's going high. That's how I place a market. Now, me, when I am looking on looking for deals, I'm working two ways. One, I'm working with brokers, building relationship with brokers. But I'm doing something that I used to do when I did wholesale in the single family home. I'm reaching out direct to owner. It took me a while to find how. Two steps. One is how to find, let's say I'm looking on an apartment. How do I find the owner? Because they're all go and hide behind an LLC, right? So it's harder to find the owner. I know people using CoStar, Reonomy, Yardi. Not to say bad things about it, but it's not accurate. What do you do when it's not the phone number? How do you find them? So it took me like almost a year to figure this out, how to find any owner and call him. And so I'm doing a lot of off market. Now I'm working more about not calling all the owners, because it's so many. It's finding the properties that that have some kind of maybe motivation. For example, how do you find in the market properties that the rents are below market rents, right? How do you find it? If you know the property and you see that it's below market rent, something is going on, right? So maybe there is a potential, not just calling a property that was just renovated last year and all the rents are high right now. It's not going to work. The deal not going to work. So I'm using brokers and I'm reaching out directly to owners. Now, about due diligence, how do I do it from far away? That's the thing is all about. So one, I have the management company who's doing the tours for me. And once we approach the due diligence, I'm flying, and also I'm usually partner with another sponsor that is local that can come in and help. This way, it's a team sport, so everybody can do something to do it.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. What about you, Marcel? How do you, for one, identify markets that you want to invest in, and then two, do the due diligence to really understand those markets too?
Yeah, thanks. At the moment, I'm focused heavily on the Texas Triangle market, so that could be the Dallas-Fort Worth still, and also Houston and San Antonio. But I'm always open, especially after we might see a little bit a correction, probably also to other markets like Atlanta or Florida. I like Florida, or like places where I see, in general, I see a potential where it's going to be much healthier in 10 years. So I'm always looking like, where will the area be in 10 years? And I see super potential, like, for example, San Francisco. I don't think you guys are looking into that area unless you're like buying towers. But I think that's the markets I'm in. But I think what Rafi also said is the same. What I'm looking in is are actually 3 points. One point is the job growth and the population growth, which I also mentioned before, and of course the specific sub-markets. And yes, if it's possible, I try to fly there and have a look at myself. So I've been there like every 2 years. I'm in the Texas Triangle market and looking at it, and I can feel the vibration. And also you can talk to the people. You can notice when they're proud about their place. It's a good sign. If you go to another place and they notice everybody says it's I just want to get out, I cannot get out, then that's a horrible place. But I think job growth, population growth, and the specific sub-market, if you see like a big company is building, a project, or a big fund is investing in a big construction, or a airport is being built, or a university, these are really good signs where I'm very, very interested.